Hello everyone, my name is Vera Fidanti and I'm from 22B of English department, and I want to tell you about English development from the beginning to modern English. Check it out. Mind of the average person, language is associated with writing and calls up a picture of the French page. From Latin or French, as we made in literature, we get an impression of something uniform and relatively fixed. We are likely to forget that writing is only a conventional device for recording sounds and that language is primarily speech. Even more important, we tend to forget that the Latin of Cicero or the French or of Voltaire is the product of centuries of development, and that language, as long as it lives and is in actual use, is in a constant state of change. Although the alteration that is constantly going on in language is for the most part gradual and of such nature as often to escape the notice of those is whose speech is taking place. After a period of time, the differences that grow up become appreciable. If we go back to the 18th century, we find Alexander Pope writing good nature and good sense must even join to err as human to forgive divine. Where is it? It is apparent that he pronounced join as Jane. Despite the differences between Old English and Modern English, the language retains a fundamental kinship to our own. The student can expect to find learning Old English to be somewhat easier than learning a new foreign language, such as Spanish or French. A semester's worth of hard work should be enough to give students the ability to translate Old English poetry and prose. The key to success in this endeavor is to lay a solid foundation of grammatical understanding. While at first it might seem easy to get the general idea of the passage, if you take the time to figure out exactly how each word is working in a sentence, you will find the more complicated Old English sentence that we made later in the semester will be less difficult to translate than they otherwise might be. Example: main verbs. That verbs express the main action of a sentence or clauses. Alfred ruled the West Saxon people. Proud is the main verb of the sentence. Auxiliary verbs. These verbs, sometimes known as helping verbs, are combined with the main verb. Alfred had ruled the West Saxon people for 10 years. Had is an auxiliary link to the main verb. Rule, linking verb, are is, was, are, and other forms of the verb to be are used to rename or describe a subject. One useful way to analyze them is to think of linking verb as being the same as equal sign. Between two things, Alfred is a king. King is called subject complement or predicate nominative. It renames Alfred and is therefore separate from Alfred by the linking verb is. A subject complement will be the same case, the nominative, as the noun it renames. Middle English, a period of roughly 300 years from around 1150 century SE to around 1450 is difficult to identify because it is a time of transition between two eras that each have stronger definition of English and Modern English. Common Middle English example, albeit, be although, a noun, be at lunch, at another time, bad is be better, can, know, be able, case, happening now, chance, joy, quiet, echo, each one, every rich, everyone. In Middle English, or from instance in the time of Chaucer, the long vowels were generally pronounced very much like the Latin derived Romantic language of Europe. For example, she would have been pronounced more like shape, me as may, mine as mean, share as cheer, made as mat, out as out, house as house, flower as floor, boat as boat, mother as mood, and etc. William the Conqueror the Domesday Book, for example, would have been pronounced Domesday, as indeed it is often erroneously spelled today. After the Great Vowel Shift, the pronunciations of this and similar words would have been much more like they are spoken today. The shift comprises a series of connections with change in one vowel pushing another the change in order to keep its distance. Although there is some dispute as to the order of these movements, the changes all proceeded at different time and speeds in different parts of the country. Thus, causal word live, pronounced live, became the modern word life, and the word five, originally pronounced five, gradually accurate its modern pronunciation. Some of the changes occurred in stage, although live was spelled life by the time of Shakespeare's in the late 16th century. It would have been pronounced more like laugh at the time, and only later did it acquire its modern pronunciation. It should be noted that the tendency of upper classes of southern England to pronounce a word in words like dance, but castle to sound like dance, bat, and castle was merely an 18th century fashionable affection which happened to stick and nothing to do with a general shifting in vowel pronunciation. Modern English, sometimes called New English, as opposed to Middle and Old English, is the form of the English language that has been spoken since the Great Vowel Shift in England, which began in the late 14th century and was completed by the 17th century. But modern English also adopted other military-derived words that we use today, including ambush, spearhead, melee, radar, siege, camouflage, and sortie, along with the aeronautical related term nose dive and landing strip. According to Huddleston and Pullum, 2013, the term accent is used for varieties of language distinguished by pronunciation, opposing it to dialect, which applies to varieties distinguished by grammar or vocabulary. The development of national language has reinforced the idea of dialect as a distributive system of a group of users with common regional or class characteristic and identify. Hence, the popular misconception that dialect and accent are one and the same. Most speakers of the British family of dialects, for instance, have a non-rhotic accent, which means that the sound R in post-vocalic position is not longer pronounced, whereas it is in American English. Huddleston and Pullum 2013 example, Cockney. This English accent is probably the most iconic of them all and one that is instantly recognizable. Yorkshire. The Yorkshire, the dialect is native to North England, spoken in the largest country in the UK, Yorkshire. Scottish, Welsh, Northern Irish, New York City dialect goes beyond mere pronunciation. Example of accent: an American might pronounce the word hello by speaking the h sound. A Brit might pronounce the word hello without speaking the h sound.